We flew from Laos, the cheapest country in Asia, to this place, the most expensive country in Asia. And see how fancy his house is. You don't see that many mosquitoes here. Owner offered us a free drink. It's humongous. Guys, I feel like I'm in Jurassic Park. Can you guess where we are? The first place we went to as soon as we arrived in Singapore was... Wow! It was a jewel at Changi Airport. The moment I saw the waterfall, I couldn't help but say, wow! Isn't it huge? This is the world's tallest indoor waterfall, dropping from 40 meters. It's a landmark of Changi Airport. Guys, I feel like I'm in Jurassic Park! What makes this waterfall at Changi Airport even more stunning and unique is not just the waterfall itself, but also the massive forest surrounding it and the monorail passing right next to it. It really makes visitors feel like they're on a movie set for Jurassic Park. Wow! By the way, I've been amazed by man-made structures only twice in my life. Once by the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona, and now by this waterfall at Changi Airport. You can tell I'm super excited, right? We spent the whole afternoon exploring this place, and at night, the waterfall felt totally different. You can enjoy the waterfall as it changes colors, which adds a unique charm. Wow. Doesn't this green waterfall look like something out of a sci-fi movie? Wow, isn't that just amazing? Now it's time to leave the airport and head to our hotel. It's pretty late, but getting around Singapore is easy thanks to its great public transportation. We hopped on a bus and enjoyed a comfortable ride while checking out the city from the top deck of a double-decker. Let me show you the place where we're staying. So how expensive is it to stay in a hotel in the most expensive country in Asia? Here's a hotel in Singapore. This is it. That's it. Double-sized bed, the water faucet, and toilet and shower inside. That's it. As you can see, it's very small. We wanted a hotel with a private bathroom inside. The price of this room is $136 per night and is 14 square meters in size. As you can see, the room is occupied with just one double bed. Many other hotel rooms in Singapore are similarly small for their price. Despite not including breakfast, the price of about $140 per night feels very expensive compared to hotels in other parts of Asia in terms of amenities and services. Not only are hotel prices high in Singapore, but the cost of living is especially expensive. Let me quickly explain why prices are so high here. Singapore's GDP per capita is 91,000 US dollars, making it the fifth highest in the world. Of course, just because GDP per capita is high doesn't mean everyone earns that much. The average salary in Singapore is actually around $48,000. The reason for this gap is 1. Wealth is concentrated in the hands of a small upper class, and 2. Many wealthy foreigners move to Singapore due to its low taxes and fewer regulations. Starting tomorrow, we'll show you how we as budget travelers enjoy Singapore affordably and what the actual prices are like. So for now,
good night, guys.
good morning. We're heading out for breakfast. But wait, What is this? There are cigarette butts littered on the ground. There were no litters when I visited Singapore 10 years ago. Singapore has changed a lot. Singapore is famous for being super clean, and they keep it that way with strict rules and fines. For instance, if you're traveling to Singapore, you're only allowed to bring in one cigarette. E-cigarettes and gum are banned too. You also have to smoke in designated areas only. Littering, like throwing a cigarette butt on the street or even leaving your food at a food court without cleaning up, is a big no-no. If you break these rules, you can be fined up to $1,500. Crazy, right? For breakfast, we came to a famous dim sum restaurant. Since 75% of Singapore's population is of Chinese descent, both English and Chinese are official languages here, and there are tons of Chinese restaurants. This place is so popular that even the Singaporean Prime Minister has visited. I'm really curious to see how good this place is. Look how many dishes we have. These are all in 25 Sing dollars. So at this restaurant, you have to order through this QR code. So you have to scan here first, and the menu pops up like this. Oh, it's tasty. This very Shanghainese style. Very tasty. Now to dim sum. Sichuan style dumpling. Hong Kong style French toast with butter on top. A little greasy for me, but it's tasty. And 10% service charge, 9% VAT. So it comes out to be 31 Sing dollar. When we went to pay, we noticed that they added a 10% service charge and a 9% VAT. To our surprise, they only accepted cash or certain Chinese payment apps, which was a bit frustrating. They should have told us this before we ordered, but we only found out at checkout, so we had to go all the way to a distant ATM to withdraw money. The food was great, but the service, not so much. By the way, just as a side note, if you travel to Korea, everywhere accepts card payments, so you won't need to carry any cash. After breakfast, we are off to one of Singapore's most iconic landmarks. And here we are at Marina Bay Sands. Wow, it's massive, right? This is the hotel entrance, and I think it's the highest ceiling I've ever seen in any hotel. I can't stop being amazed by how grand everything is. Marina Bay Sands isn't just a hotel. It's a whole complex with a casino, a huge shopping mall, and even a sky park. So fancy. You can see so many luxury brands here, right? Oh, there's TWG, Singapore's luxury tea brand. And this TWG tea house looks so luxurious, right? It's on the pricier side, but their blended teas are high quality, making them a great gift option. It's like a floating tea house. Even though Marina Bay Sands is expensive, there's still a food court where you can grab a meal at a lower price. Jean couldn't resist checking out this Italian chocolate brand. A mini-sized gelato is $8. What do you think? Would you pay $8 for a cone of ice cream? Wow, this place even has a waterfall that reminds me of the one at Jewel in Changi Airport, but on a smaller scale. There's even a gondola here, kind of like the Venetian in Las Vegas. I bet kids would love it. We spent the afternoon exploring all around Marina Bay Sands. It's so big. We're taking the MRT. the subway in Singapore. Yeah, as a budget traveler, we're not taking the taxi, but rather bus and subways. That's how you can survive in Singapore. So without making a transportation card, I just use my international debit card that I made back in my home country, Korea. Like this, you can just tap it. Because I put in additional public transportation functionality into my international debit card. So you can also do that when you travel to Korea. Jean doesn't know where we're going yet. I haven't told her. I love seeing her surprise reactions when we go somewhere without her knowing. So I keep our next spot a secret sometimes. Guys, the beauty of travel. What do you think the beauty of travel is? I think the beauty of travel is not knowing what's ahead of you. So Jean has no idea what we're gonna do today. So that adds more surprise. That's fun part of travel. There are other famous spots around Marina Bay, and one of them is Gardens by the Bay. It's one of the most unique gardens I've ever seen, and I was really moved when I visited it years ago. Let's go check it out.
오빠 할 줄 알아?
Yeah, but I forgot. I played until when I was 6th grade. 네. Gardens Bay. It's like Avatar, right? Seen from Avatar. Gardens by the Bay is a huge park right in the middle of the city. It covers a pretty large area. We're heading to one of its highlights, the super trees. You have to pay an entrance fee to go up to the observation deck, but walking around the park is free.
우와.
The place Jean is marveling at is Marina Bay Sands Hotel. That observation deck on top of the 3 towers is a sky park where we'll be heading soon. It's designed to resemble a ship.
우와. 응. 와.
Jean keeps being amazed. Even though it's been years since I last visited Singapore, this spot is still stunning. The lush gardens, the fountains, and the super trees in the background, it all feels so modern and futuristic, unlike your typical garden. And when you turn around, you see the enormous Marina Bay Sands Hotel. This park is definitely worth visiting. Jean must be in a great mood because we just started doing a couple dance out of nowhere. Haha. That big Ferris wheel in the distance is a Singapore Flyer, another iconic landmark in Marina Bay. It's one of the biggest Ferris wheels in the world. We're crossing the bridge to get to the super trees. Isn't the view stunning and almost magical? It's amazing how they have blended nature and artificial structures so seamlessly in the middle of the city. Just like I felt at Changi Airport, Singapore's ability to create such impressive tourist attractions is really something to admire. I don't know why, but I always feel like dancing when I'm overwhelmed with excitement. Haha. Wow, here it is, the super tree. Doesn't it look like something straight out of the movie Avatar? The tallest one stands at 50 meters, which is about the height of a 16-story building. These super trees aren't just sculptures, they also serve as vertical gardens with plants growing all over them. Plus, they're equipped with solar panels, making them a sustainable design. Changi Airport is also known for its eco-friendly architecture. So it seems like Singapore really prioritizes sustainability. By the way, fun fact about Singapore is that you don't see that many mosquitoes here. Do you know why?
Why?
Singapore is near the equator, so it's hot and humid all year round, ideal for mosquitoes. But why are there so few here? If mosquitoes or caterpillars are found breeding in drains or puddles, the Singapore government imposes a $230 fine on the property owner or manager per violation. If it happens 3 times, fines can go up to $2,300 or even result in a 3-month jail sentence. Residential areas have even stricter rules with a $3,800 fine for any violations. So it's not just about smoking and littering. Singapore takes mosquito control seriously. They've even released sterilized mosquitoes, reducing the population by 90%. For someone like me, who's always getting bitten by mosquitoes, Singapore is heaven. Now, we're back at Marina Bay Sands. It's time for the highlight of our Singapore trip, the Sands Sky Park. We're heading up to watch the sunset and the night view. Oh, and the entrance fee here is $28 per person, but we found a way to get a discount by signing up for the Marina Bay Sands membership card. Unfortunately, it's only available to residents of certain countries such as Korea.
와, 드디어 간다.
The highlight of Singapore. The Sky Park is on the same floor as the hotel's famous infinity pool. Staying at Marina Bay Sands costs about $1,100 per night, which is a bit out of a budget as we are traveling the world for a year. But with the membership discount, we only pay $20 each to enjoy the same view as a hotel guest. It's a great budget-friendly alternative. We're taking the high-speed elevator to the observation deck. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
와. 와.
This garden's wide away.
와.
The lights are on. Lights 그리고 저게 아까 식물원. It's breathtaking, isn't it? Definitely worth paying the money. Walking around the deck felt like walking in the sky. The 360-degree view of the ocean and city is just incredible. Feeling the breeze and seeing the wide open scenery was such a dream. I first saw this view when I visited Singapore in 2015, and even now, during my second visit, it's still just as captivating. Jin was also amazed the whole time. But there's an even better viewpoint here. This spot. Isn't the city view across the bay stunning? This cityscape is one of the best I've seen in my travels across 60 countries. It's just as impressive as the skyscraper views in Manhattan, New York. You can already see people gathering to watch the sunset, can't you? When it gets dark, it becomes even more magnificent. We're heading up to the top level now. Wow, this view is even better. There's the famous Marina Bay Sands infinity pool, only for hotel guests. So for all those of you visiting Singapore, this is a reason why you should visit Singapore. We're waiting for all the lights in the backdrop to come up. This is one of the best city views in the entire world. So I picked Singapore, Hong Kong, or Shanghai as the best city views in the world. And this is definitely one of them. Yeah. Let's wait for the night view. And tada! Here's a night view I was looking forward to. Isn't it spectacular, beautiful, and picture perfect? We enjoyed our time here so much that we stayed for quite a while, soaking in the view and capturing photos and videos. Considering that this stunning Marina Bay Sands hotel was designed by an Israeli architect and built by a Korean construction company, you can see how internationally recognized it is, right? By the way, fun fact here, the world's tallest building, Dubai's Burj Khalifa, the second tallest, Merdeka 118 in Kuala Lumpur, and the fifth tallest, the Petronas Towers, were all built by Korean construction companies. It's something that makes me proud, seeing how Korean construction technology is recognized globally. There's also a rooftop bar here. Imagine sipping a drink 200 meters above the ground, gazing at the glittering night view of Singapore. Doesn't it just feel romantic and atmospheric? We video called our parents back in Korea to show them this incredible view as we headed down.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh.
Here's a night view of the super trees we saw earlier in the day. Doesn't it feel even more like the movie Avatar now? It's so mysterious and futuristic. When I first came to Singapore, the super trees were the most fascinating thing for me. After leaving Marina Bay Sands, we took a stroll around the bay. We're heading to our dinner spot, crossing the caterpillar-like bridge ahead.
와.
This place just makes you want to move to the music. It reminds me of the vibes in Sydney.
아, 그렇군.
Here's a night view of Marina Bay Sands.
Congratulations! Oh, they're getting married too. As I said, congratulations, they said, thank you. Thank you. They were posing. They were posing and said, thank you.
With the hotel behind us and the Singapore flyer in front, we walked around, capturing lots of great photos and videos. We are at an outdoor food court just across from Marina Bay Sands. It's a great spot to try a variety of Singaporean and international dishes. While accommodation and main attractions in Singapore can be pricey, eating out is pretty affordable if you go to a local food court, also known as a hawker center. The reason food is cheap at these food courts is because the Singaporean government owns the spaces and rents them to vendors at low rates. Plus, they regulate prices to prevent them from being too high. Just because the food is cheap doesn't mean it's low quality. In fact, several stalls in these food courts have been featured in the Michelin Guide. Another reason food can be sold so cheaply is the low wages paid to foreign workers here. Singapore doesn't have a legally required minimum wage. About 25% of Singapore's workforce, or 1.3 million people, are low-paid foreign workers. Most of them come from poorer countries and work in construction, transportation, or other low-income, labor-intensive jobs. This mee goreng, you see, and this murtabak, this is Indian food. So I ordered two dishes from the same stall. Malaysian-style mee goreng and Indian-style pancakes, which came out to 18 Singapore dollars or about 14 US dollars. That's pretty affordable for a meal in such a prime tourist area, right? After dinner, we're heading to our last sightseeing spot of the day.
와.
Jean is really impressed by this bridge we're crossing. She keeps saying how romantic the view is. This is the famous Merlion statue, one of Singapore's main landmarks. The name Singapore comes from Singapura, which means Lion City, and that's why this statue represents the country. Tons of tourists are taking photos here, but I noticed most people are posing the same way. So I decided to take a different pose. Am I the only one who feels the need to look back when everyone else is looking forward? Maybe that's why I'm a bit of a different Korean.
He's so cute. He's so cute.
And that wraps up our long day. Tomorrow, we've been invited to visit a friend I used to work with in Korea. Singapore is known for having some of the most expensive housing in Asia, so I'm really curious to see what kind of place he lives in. With that thought, we end our day. Good morning, everyone. Another day has started. As usual, we're out looking for local food, and we found a food court near our place. Even early in the morning, the stalls here are busy preparing and selling a variety of dishes.
$6 shrimp wonton noodle soup, $4 pork noodle soup. So in total, $10 breakfast.
When we eat at regular restaurants, a meal can easily cost over $30 US, so food courts are definitely way more affordable. After finishing our delicious breakfast, we're heading to meet my ex-colleague from Korea who now lives here in Singapore. But I've heard from mutual friends that he lives in a really nice place. I'm curious to see what it's like.
Guys, today I'm visiting my close friend and we're gonna go visit his house and see how fancy his house is. It just looks nice from the outside.
They are checking visitors' IDs right at the entrance.
No, it's first time visiting.
It's taking quite some time because they're really thorough with the visitor checks here.
Looks like it's botanical garden here.
I noticed the building has great shared facilities like a pool and gym. So I'm expecting the apartment itself to be pretty nice too. How much do you think a place like this would cost in Singapore? Take a guess.
Very hygiene.
Shall we head up to the apartment? Wow, I'm surprised. The elevator opens directly into the apartment.
Love this view. Don't you love this view? Huh? You love it?
What really caught my eye was the terrace view. So much greenery and a great open space. If this were my home, I'm sure this would be my favorite spot. I probably spend most of my time out here. I didn't ask my friend, but from what I know, renting a place like this in Singapore costs over $15,000 a month. Can you feel how crazy expensive housing is here? We didn't film it, but my friend made a steak, and we had a great time catching up over lunch, sharing what's been going on in our lives over the past few years.
Cheers to you.
By the time we left, it was evening, so we decided to check out a popular spot that's loved by both locals and tourists alike. Look at this massive crowd. This is a night market right in the heart of Singapore's city center, also known as Satay Street.
Basically the skewers.
They block off the road here to set up an outdoor market where you can enjoy satay skewers and beer. And right next to it is a huge food court offering both local and international dishes. I was surprised to see so many people. The bustling stalls and crowd really bring out that lively night market vibe. Most of the satay stalls offer similar types of skewers with similar prices too. We just order a few to try.
0.80 cents per stick. Okay, oh yeah.
It's very nice.
Okay, yeah, one squid.
You want
Okay.
how much?
Since this place is more touristy, the prices are a bit higher compared to regular food courts that locals go to. I really like the vibe here. It feels very special, to feel the night breeze and have a satay skewers in this open street.
뭐가 빌딩 사이에
이렇게 쭉 한번 보여주세요, 이렇게. 이렇게 사이에서. Squid is not ready yet. Squid is not ready. Okay, gloves on. I'll dip it into the sauce. It's actually not that spicy. No. Nine for shrimp. 6 and 6. 9. Honestly, the taste was just okay. But considering the warm Southeast Asian weather, eating outside at a night market with a cool evening breeze really adds a nice touch to the whole travel experience. We sat at an outdoor table, enjoying our satay skewers and soaking in the atmosphere of Singapore's night breeze. Tomorrow is our last day in Singapore. We'll be heading to Malaysia, which is right next door. Specifically, we're going to Johor Bahru, a city just across the bridge from Singapore that you can reach by bus. My sister's family lives there, and it's also a hot spot for budget travelers visiting Singapore. Why is that, you ask? Join us tomorrow to find out. That's all for today. It's finally the last day of our Singapore trip, and today we're heading to Johor Bahru, Malaysia. This city has been gaining popularity lately because the accommodation costs in Johor Bahru are less than a quarter of what you'd pay in Singapore, yet it's easy to travel back and forth between the two. Many Singapore locals and even foreigners cross over to Johor Bahru for shopping or to live there due to the huge price difference. The crowds commuting between Johor Bahru and Singapore are massive, and during busy times, crossing the border can take over an hour. Before heading to Johor Bahru, we wanted to enjoy one last Singaporean meal, so we stopped by a food court for lunch. While eating and sipping on our juice, we experienced one of the most heartwarming moments of our trip. Most food courts in Singapore are cash only, and after buying lunch, we had just enough cash left for one juice. But when the juice stall owner saw the little cash we had left, he came over to our table and gave us a second juice for free. Wow! After traveling for 2 months, this was by far the most touching act of kindness we experienced. We thanked the owner multiple times. When we come back to Singapore, we'll visit his stall again and buy a lot more drinks to repay his kindness. So to wrap up our thoughts on Singapore, as the most expensive country in Asia, it can be a bit pricey for budget travelers. But is it worth visiting? Absolutely. From the awe-inspiring Jewel waterfall at Changi Airport to the stunning city views from Marina Bay Sands observation deck, the romantic vibes of walking around Marina Bay, the unique scenery at Gardens by the Bay, and the clean, mosquito-free environment, Singapore is full of its own special charm. Plus, the variety of local foods you can enjoy here is incredible. If you stay in Johor Bahru, which is just across the bridge, and travel into Singapore for food courts and sightseeing using public transport, you can save a lot of money while still experiencing everything Singapore has to offer. Alright, we're now off to Johor Bahru by bus. See you in the next video.